You say you're ready, but you just look not ready.
I just posted something on Facebook, and you know that takes all my focus.
It takes all your focus. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, it is Monday morning live with the wonderful Sean in Jamaica.
With the wonderful Sean in Jamaica. Well, good morning, everyone tuning in, and folks that'll watch this later. Good morning to you too. It's still morning for us.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be morning for other folks too. People be watching it, right after we're done.
For sure. Well, good morning, Jamaica.
Good morning, Sean. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm awake. I'm alive. I feel healthy. I feel well.
Those are all good things. All good things.
A little bit tired, but I'm okay. It's been a really busy weekend. There's a lot going on in the capital region. A lot going on in our own city. A lot going on everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's time to talk. And we got a
lot to talk about.
Huge election coming up.
What? There's a big election?
Yeah.
By what could you possibly mean?
Jamaica Miles for school board.
Jamaica Miles.
Get it right.
Yeah, no. So election day is tomorrow, May 18th. Most people don't think about elections in the spring,
no.
Right?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I feel as if most people only think about elections for November. That's it. They're like, oh, November. Oh, good morning, Tom. Good morning, Amy. That they're just like, November, that's when elections are. Well, actually, there's some really important elections that happen before November, including in May and in June.
Yeah.
But May is where we're going to focus because it's tomorrow.
Yes.
It literally is tomorrow. And we need people everywhere to show up and vote for their school board budget.
Yes.
No matter what city you're in, you have a budget vote. And you may also have, good morning, my Michaela. You may also have, you probably have seats that are up for election.
Mm-hmm.
You still got time to find out who these candidates are. We all have pages.
Yeah.
Local papers have run stories. The Gazette did a side-by-side for the candidates in Schenectady.
Mm-hmm.
They also shared it on social media. That was fun to see. Go and vote yes for your budget, because if you don't, then it's just about spending less for our schools. So you want to vote yes, and we'll change other stuff later.
Well, good morning, Michaela. I see you in there too. I didn't see that. Hey.
Yeah, I saw.
Good to see you. Hey, some of the most most important elections in any area are not even oftentimes are your local elections.
Yeah.
Right? The ones that aren't being paid attention to.
Yep.
Right? So you have school board races, you have district attorney races, which we'll probably have one coming up at some point. You have the mayoral races. But this year in particular, we're talking about the school board race, and we're talking about our city council race. And there's some county seats that are being run for by folks that are actually from the community and are black.
They're black.
And brown, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing because you don't see it.
Blackest
we don't see it.
lineup.
Yeah.
Schenectady Black Political Action Committee put on a panel discussion with all candidates of color.
Yes.
A little more than a week ago.
Yes.
Where we saw John Mudavarian, Marion Porterfield, Damani Farley, Halib Samuels, Carl Williams, me. Am I missing anyone?
No.
Oh,
wait,
yes,
Omar?
I am. Omar McGill.
Omar. County. Yes.
Schenectady County has never had a black person sitting in the county legislature.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democratic Party has fought to keep Omar specifically out of that seat. And Omar is qualified. There's no reason why Omar shouldn't get that seat. So if you are in Schenectady County, pay attention to what's happening in the city of Schenectady, the county of Schenectady, and know that in June, we're going to be talking about that race as well. Yeah. But we got to get through tomorrow.
12 to 9.
12 to 9.
12 p.m. to 9 p.m.
That's right.
The voting booths will be open. And where are they?
They are actually in the local schools.
Yes.
They're not necessarily in your regular voting place. Someone actually just asked. And so I'm going to pull up the list of schools where they are. So whatever neighborhood school is closest to you, right? So Dawn, I don't believe that it's inside Steinmetz specifically, but there's so many pictures of my kids on my phone that I couldn't find the other photo I was looking for.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
I found it. So Yates Elementary Schenectady High School, Howe Elementary, Page Elementary, Woodlawn Elementary, Mount Pleasant Middle School, Fulton, and MLK are the locations for voting for the school board tomorrow, Tuesday, May 18th.
And we will post this
again
list so that folks can see it. Yeah,
we shared it. We're gonna keep sharing it.
We got to. We gotta make sure
Lincoln School was not actually listed, Dawn. It's not actually listed as a polling site, but you can also call the Schenectady School District and speak to Martha, who's amazing and has all the details at 518-370-8100. Talk to Martha. Find out if for some reason you're not sure what your polling location is. Also, we have rides to the polls.
Yes,
I just saw Emily reminded me that she's available to give rides. We've got other volunteers that are giving rides. Amy's giving rides.
Yes,
Amy Jones said 12 to 9. What's up?
Okay.
We have other people that are giving rides just in the evening. But if you're an early bird and you're like, hey, I need to go before I go to work, 12 o'clock, don't worry, we got you. Because we need folks to show up tomorrow. The last election.
5 seats.
7.
7 seats?
No, 7 votes.
7 votes.
I'm going there.
Okay.
The last election, someone lost a seat by 7 votes. And I keep saying it over and over again because y'all need to understand how important it is that you actually get out and vote. When there's someone you want to vote for, I'm not saying go and vote just because you go and vote. But if you actually believe in a candidate and you want to see them get in that seat, understand, especially for these local elections, it is a small margin where the difference is made. There are 2 seats for this school board election cycle.
And 5 candidates.
5 candidates.
5 candidates.
And only 2 of them are Black.
Only 2 of them are people
and only
of color.
2 of them have children currently inside the district, have a history with the district, and understand the inner workings and what it means to support the students that need the support and to work collectively with staff and teachers and parents and community, because we have a history of doing that. Talking about Jamaica Miles and Prince Prof. So there are 2 seats. But yeah, 7.
Listen, I just want to, no, I'm just saying there's 2 seats, 5 candidates. And for me, I'm looking at the people that have grown up in this community, that have worked with young people in this community and have a history of actually having success with our young people in this community. That's important. And it's not to say that someone else can't do something towards like their, you know what I mean? But they are not the candidate for now, right? They are not the candidate that is going to make sure, in my opinion, that money that's coming to our school districts, which you fought over a decade for, right?
10 years of my life,
I mean,
to get the money that
money's
we got.
Going to go towards the things that it needs to. It's too important of a time to miss this opportunity to have someone like Jamaica Miles on the school board. And I look forward to casting my vote for you on Tuesday for sure. And I hope that all of you watching will do the same thing. It's just important.
And the other thing is, when I'm sitting in that seat, because we're going to, put that out into the universe. When I'm sitting in that seat, I look forward to working collectively with those other candidates. Because if you're committed to the school district, then you're committed to the school district. It's not just about sitting in the seat. Like I've been, doing this work for more than 20 years. It's not just about sitting in the seat. If you're really committed, then you're just as valuable when you're on the outside. So to the candidates who don't make it to the school board, come and be part of the process, because it really does take all of us. Everyone has a role to play.
That's right. Absolutely.
And mine's at the table.
That's right. You need to make sure you get that seat. So get out there tomorrow, 12 to 9, cast your vote. You need a ride, we'll get it for you. You need to know where it's at, we'll let you know. Just make this happen.
No barriers.
No barriers. Let's make it happen.
Which is what we talked about on Saturday.
Yes.
Let's
Saturday
talk about
in the
Saturday.
Park. Hamilton Hill. We were back in Hamilton Hill again for the family cookout, speak out. Big shout out to artists, Southern Cuisine and Steakhouse. My boy Jadell, much appreciated. Big shout out to all those that came out and tabled, right? We had some folks come out and table. We had our volunteers come out. Jennifer, thank you so much. Cody, thank you so much for coming out and supporting, serving the young people. And just, I think we had a really good time. It was good music, good conversation. We talked to people we ain't meet before. Like
new folks.
Yeah, like that was dope. I really enjoyed it, man. Like, I feel like we're gonna be doing that a few times this year already. We haven't set all the dates, but we'll be back.
Yeah.
I miss that park. Like, I used to play ball in that park all the time, man, when I was a youngster, man. Yeah. And I miss being there, and I miss being around the people, and I miss that big ass oak tree, whatever it is that's in the middle of the park. Like, it was really dope to be there, and I'll be back to do that again. And it's important that we do those type of things, right?
And with different partners. Now, the city of Schenectady, Ron Gardner came talking about the programs that are founded in affirmative action to try to get those individuals that typically don't have access the opportunity to get job training or to get connected with the workforce. There also is the summer program with Job Corps. If you have a high school student that is interested in finding a summer job, reach out and I'll get you the info, because Ron gave me the info. I'll connect you with Ron Gardner. So if there are young people in the city of Schenectady that are looking for a summer job, let's make that happen. Schenectady County, big up to Keith, who made sure that
Keith Brown,
that we had someone that came out to talk about vaccines. Yeah, because our inner city has a low percentage of vaccinations, and they were there to answer questions and talk about availability and all of that stuff, so that people can be informed and make informed decisions. Yeah. So really appreciate Schenectady County partnering with us, and then also. Walter showed up. Oh, Walter Simpkins, Community Fathers. Yeah. What up, Walter? And Emblem Health was there.
Emblem Health came.
But I also need to say a special thank you to Jasmine Gripper.
Hey, Jasmine.
So Jasmine is currently the executive director for AQE. But I met Jasmine.
It's the Alliance for Quality Education.
Thank you. That's right. I did alphabet soup. My bad. Jasmine and I met almost 10 years ago. Yeah. When I joined Alliance for Quality Education as a parent volunteer. And I mean, she was kicking ass back then in the role that she had, and now she's leading the organization. And I so appreciate that she came to support me in this campaign and to just show up as an individual, right? She showed up just as herself, but as herself, like, y'all want a Jasmine Gripper in your corner is all I'm saying. And gave me some really good advice, and we talked about some things. And so just like, thank you to Jasmine, and thank you to everyone that showed up at the park to volunteer, like you said, and the people. Yeah. And there's a video on our page where I said some words, I said some things, and talked about what it's going to take for us to create the change that we need.
Well, a part of that, what it's taking is doing what we're doing, and that's getting in the community and having these type of conversations with folks and letting them know what resources are available there. Yeah. Like, stay tuned, because, I'm making these connections with different, I think, organizations that for job opportunities and trainings and just trying to connect all the resources. One of the huge things in our community is this lack of this information gap. Right? There isn't awareness about what the programs are, their availability. First of all, they're not resourced enough, right, to make sure that they're getting out the word as much as necessary. So I'm working with making those connections so that we can bring some kind of economic opportunity to all of these places, and look forward to seeing folks come in and table. Like, we have this huge deal coming to Albany, man. Right? They're green tech, right? Not the school. Technology, right? Green technology is like a really huge deal. There's a lot of plans. Now, these plans that I'm not going to go into the details, but these plans that come to these cities are usually years in the making, right? And the groundwork is being laid for that opportunity. And I, for one, and with others, are trying to make sure that a lot of that money that comes in comes to the communities that actually need it, not that want it, but actually need it in order to get out of impoverished situations.
Because that's not what's happening.
Having $70 million come to a city and not ensuring that folks in that community have a job or have
the training,
have a training, like that's ridiculous.
Schenectady,
I'm not trying to let that happen again.
You failed this city, which is why we need to flip them seats.
Yeah.
In Schenectady, in Albany, in Troy, y'all better vote for D. Collin. I'm not even playing with you. Like, it's not even a joke. If you do not know who D. Collin is, she's not just a poet, y'all. Her words do be spitting. She spits fire. Yeah. But she's also got a passion and understanding that's going to create change in Troy. So you better show up in Troy. And there's other people that are running for seats out there. Again, in June, we got way more to talk about. And lots of candidates for us to, share information on. But you talked about partners. Right?
Yeah.
We had community partners come out for Hamilton Hill, and we always partner with different groups and organizations. And there's lots of people that are helping get rides to the polls for tomorrow's school board election, because how many times are we going to say school board election is tomorrow from 12 to 9 in the city of Schenectady? Vote for Jamaica Miles? A lot. But we also need to talk about some other things that are happening like this.
Power of the people. Power of the people.
Just like that.
Conversation this Thursday, May 20th. Talk about it. Listen, the collective work that we're talking about, because that's what this is. When we're talking about partnerships with organizations or just working with folks in the community to craft ideas about what the community needs, that's the collective work. We said this from the beginning. There's no one person or organization, etc., that can do all things. We have to work collectively to push forward. Power of the people is an example of that.
So Power of the People is a collaborative between all of us, the Center for Law and Justice, Youth FX, Red Bookshelf, and the community leadership team, and the list grows, right? Yeah. We have other partners that always participate. So Elevate 518 is always at the table. Appreciate you. And it's about giving space for the community to have their voice heard, but also creating a space for the community to learn about what's happening in the city of Albany. Yeah. And it's been online. It's still online. So Thursday at 6 p.m. will be that conversation to talk about what is happening in the city of Albany. But before we even get to Thursday, there's a common council meeting tonight. And if y'all ain't showing up to talk about how we need to pass local law C and ban tear gas and rubber bullets, well, you're missing a way to participate and be a part of change in the city of Albany. The reason why it's even a possibility is because of all the different voices that have consistently every single meeting shown up, even when it wasn't like a public meeting, but they put all their stuff on Facebook. I like going and seeing the chat. Lauren Manning, appreciate you. Marco, appreciate you. Love it when a Baldwin chimes in. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Because those city council members, they're watching. I will actually just watch their faces. I type something, and then I watch their faces for the delay when, it pops up on their screen. They are paying attention to the words that happen, even if you're not physically in the meeting. They see what people are saying. This is why there is this opportunity to ban tear gas in the city of Albany, because so many people have consistently shown up, and we need that to happen in every single city. Yeah. But here we are, Albany leading the charge, saying, oh, this is how you do it. And thank you to Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, so if y'all don't see in the chat right now, there's a whole bunch of information about what you need to do and how you do it. It will be in the email blast that goes out later today, because it really takes consistent pressure. It's not a one-off. You don't just show up and say, this is what you need to do and go home, take your ball and leave. Yeah. You have to go over and over and over again, because when you leave, they're like, oh, good, they're gone. I don't have to do this thing.
It's a constant work. right? And staying aware and staying on top of things is not so easy for all of us because working 40, 50, 60-hour freaking weeks doesn't, you know what I mean, leave the space sometimes necessary to be involved. But that's why you have a lot of the activist community and advocate community that will, as much as they possibly can, like keep this information visible, right? And keep the conversations going so that you can check in, say, hey, this is what's going on. Okay, this is where my voice, this is where I land on this. This is how I want to support this, etc. Like, we understand that it's not easy to be out and to follow this stuff all the time. And that's why we're here doing this work. That's why we always have these conversations to continue to make sure that the community is aware of what's going on. Because because they're not going to do it. I'm talking about the powers that be, not City Hall. How many different ways, how many obstacles have City Hall and others put up between the community and them and them so they can be involved? How many obstacles?
It depends on which city we're looking at. But, so the city of Albany, the current obstacle that I feel as if they still are dismissive of is the fact that they are publishing people's contact information on social media. That is a deterrent for individuals to actually speak out. So Tom had put up that you can send an email, right? Don't use the online form. The online form makes you fill out your address, your phone number, and all that stuff. You can directly just send an email and say, my name is. And they still have to accept the comment. But there are people that now hesitate or just don't do it at all. We've had people reach out to us and say, are they still sharing your contact information on social media? Y'all are putting up barriers. People are not going to just say to the entire internet world, hey, this is where I live when I'm talking about police brutality, knowing that I'm now going to have a target on my back. And
listen, and let's not, listen to the nonsense. Oh, well, this is what we always done. It's not what you've always done. Sitting in the city hall in a common council meeting
with a piece of paper.
And then saying, this is who I am, this is my address, is a whole lot different than having a post up on social media platform about who you are, where your address is, and all of that. That's just complete nonsense. Doesn't make any sense.
It is. So hopefully Corey Ellis, the leader, the president of the Common Council, is paying attention, because people have brought that up. In the city of Schenectady, I mean, they're that much worse, because they refuse to use a platform that's accessible to the people. So they won't use Zoom. They keep using WebEx. That has been so freaking problematic. To get the link, you have to jump through all these hoops. It's not easily found on the city website. And they said, oh, now you only have a couple minutes. It's a problem. The city of Schenectady, the democratically run city of Schenectady, flip those seats, get John Mudavarian, Marion Porterfield, and Damani Farley to get those full seats. June 22nd, vote for them, and add Carl Williams as well. And just do your research.
Do your research. Right.
But we need new people in those seats, because the old ones are supporting the bullshit. Troy. I mean, D. Collin, do we really need to talk about Troy and all of the barriers? I mean, they just don't even pretend.
No.
They just say, no, we're not listening to you. We have our own process. The chief and the mayor are going to talk about things, and that's it. So a mass mobilization that is a constant, consistent presence is needed across the Capital District. And that takes organizing, that takes work, and that's what we're here
on the ground, grassroots, organizing, getting in those communities, talking with people, and listening to what they have to say, and allowing them to speak for themselves when they want. You know what I'm saying? When they're capable and they want to, right? And pushing that. That's what it takes.
And it is the power of the people. That's what we're talking about. So tonight, Albany City Council meeting.
Yes.
Thursday, Power of the People, where there will be an update about what happened at the city council meeting and what's coming next, as well as the budgetary items that are happening across the Capital District, all this federal money that's coming in that Schenectady doesn't have a plan for.
Or at least they haven't told anyone else what the plan is, because
Albany's at least faking it.
I mean, Albany's saying they're gonna address budgetary gaps, right? They're not talking about doing anything new.
Yeah, but they also at least faked it and said, hey, here's a checklist, pick the things from this list that we pre-chose for you.
Yeah.
At least they feigned community input.
Yeah.
Schenectady said, no, we're not talking to you. And Troy probably doesn't even know they're getting money. Like, people, are you understanding why it's so important to, one, stay informed, to, two, get involved, and to, three, be a constant presence? This is what it looks like. What else we got to talk about today?
I mean, we're staying on power to people in this conversation. I think it's important to point out there's been some articles written recently, right? And in one of the articles, and this is important. This is really important because it goes to the mindset and it goes to kind of where we're at right now. In one of the articles, the chief of police here in Schenectady said that he doesn't believe public trust is being eroded. I think specifically, he believes that it's a particular group.
Yeah, it's this.
And following. Okay, I don't believe public trust is being eroded. I think it's a certain group and a certain following who are agitators in police community relations. Their actions will not deter the forward progress I'm striving for, the department is striving for, and the city is striving for. So it's not the community that has an issue. It's only a certain group.
I wonder who he's talking about.
I know. I wonder who he's talking about as well.
Anybody know who Eric Clifford is talking about?
Yeah.
What group is just seeding all of this unrest and pretending that
agitators
there's
and police community relations?
Agitators. Born and raised in the city, damn it.
Yeah, listen, I'm born and raised here as well. And this, like, so for me, like when I read it, I'm like, so you're willing to ignore all the conversations in our community, all the time, all the days, the weeks, the months that we've been out here talking with folks in the community, and you're only saying it's a particular group. So
800 signatures.
800 signatures
from City of Schenectady residents in support of the 13 demands. 800 signatures.
You know, but beyond that, which that's important. I don't want to say that's very important. Beyond that, though, there's a completely, I think he's missed something so significant. So when I walk in these communities in Schenectady, when I'm walking in Hampton Hill, I'm talking with people. I there's not a block I walk on where there's not somebody there that's talking about how they were abused by the police at some point. Yeah. About how there is no trust with the police. And let me just tell you, in the beginning of what he said is, I don't believe public trust is being eroded. Public trust has been eroded.
It never existed.
So let's start at that point. Public trust has been eroded when you're talking about communities of color and the most impoverished communities in the city of Schenectady, and most impoverished communities anywhere, period.
Yep.
Public trust, because trust in the police is not found oftentimes in those spaces. They're found outside of those spaces in other communities where you don't have a lot of police, where friends and neighbors are the police.
Yes.
Where, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's different for those communities. And you may be talking about that public.
My brother's a cop, and my father was a cop, and my uncle's a cop.
Yeah, and my friends and my neighbors and whoever, like everyone, you know, a part of the department or have a connection to the department, and the department doesn't act the same way they act in Hamilton Hill, right? They don't act the same way there.
Or Mount
so
Pleasant.
I want to be clear about what we're talking about, right? Yep. What public are you talking about? You're not talking about the communities in which we were walking, because it ain't a block. I ain't a block in Hamilton Hill right now that I can walk on and talk, and I can find anybody there.
How many stories have we received in the last week or the last 48 hours?
Yeah, too many to count. And I just feel like it's a missed. You have, listen, the chief has a position and it is such a powerful position in this city, and to be in that seat and have the perspective that public trust is good, except for these few people, except for that organization, these few people, public trust is not being eroded. It's just those guys. Like, what are you even talking about? How does that even make sense?
Because
how do you start from that position?
Because he doesn't talk to people. And remember that Eric Clifford spoke specifically about how things have changed over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that it is not the same department that it was when you and I were teenagers in the city of Schenectady.
I mean,
Eric,
if you're saying it,
Eric,
if you're comparing it to one of the most corrupt police departments in the history of this state, if you're not there, that's great. That's great news.
That's what he's
Thank
comparing
you.
it to.
Thank you for not being there. Thank you for not having cops that sell drugs in the community, or have folks that work for them selling drugs, that have prostitution rings, that have police like that were just doing all kinds of stuff. Thanks for not having a department that's doing that.
And thanks for not being involved in that.
Right?
Because we had a police chief that had to be investigated because of their involvement. So because we're not that bad, it doesn't matter that your cops are still beating people.
There's a part of this is this conversation for me, reminds me a lot of like James Baldwin talks about when this system of reality, right? Is where I operate in a space where, so for instance, he talks about the Alabama sheriff, and he talks about, you know what I mean? The South African farmer. And he's like, they look at the community that's pushing back against the systems and structure, right, as completely insane and out of their mind to be attacking a system to which they owe their identity. This is part of what he says. And that's because we are looking at this thing from two different places. Actually, it's multiple different places, but we'll use the binary opposition, and I don't want to use too many big words, but we'll use that to say. So as a person who hasn't been impacted directly, right, coming from a community of moderate to high affluence, you don't see the world in the same way as a person born in one of the poorest communities in the region, which is Hamilton Hill. You don't see it in the same way, right? So for you, you're like, hey, trust is good. You're an institutionalist. You're a chief of police. You're a part of the institution that has been designed to control the social kind of dynamics, right? So the socioeconomic failings, behavior failings, substance abuse issues, etc. The police target and control that population, and for them, that's progress. That's what works. That's what's always worked. And it's not what's working, and it's not going to continue to work. And it's only worked in a way that it's incarcerated 2.5 million people in our country, right?
That's what
it's broken up families.
Clifford.
It's kept this negative cycle loop going for too long. And when we're talking about changing things, we're talking about changing that dynamic, about looking in different ways to address it. We don't need to police and incarcerate our way out of, folks from struggling with poverty, struggling with substance abuse. We don't need to do that. There's other ways we can do it, and that's investing in our communities, and that's something that they refuse to do. I just saw the other day they spent almost $200,000 on a new unit, right, of police.
I mean,
where could we have spent that money differently?
The police also bought dirt bikes in advance of legislation that hadn't even been passed yet, but I digress. And then your police also still choose who they're going to believe and who they're going to protect. So not only is your system not working, it is biased in telling, Black families, no, it's not you. It's not them, it's you. But Eric Clifford, I need you to understand something. It's just a small group of people that support the police. It's just a small group of individuals that think policing is good. You need to get out more and speak to other people, because it's not the masses. It's a small group of people, as opposed to what you think, where it's a small group of agitators. No, you're surrounding yourself with the people who agree with you, whereas we go and talk to everyone. And we have heard from people that say we need police. And we've had those conversations and we've listened to them. You, on the other hand, only listen to the people that agree with you. We've got 800 signatures. How many did you get in support of increasing policing? You didn't. And you also didn't get it from the communities most impacted. So when we come up with videos that are less than a month old, Talk to me about that. When we come up and have families who are complaining and now feel as if they have the support to actually complain about how they were treated by your officers, how they were dismissed by your officers, don't talk to me about it being 5 and 10 years ago. It's happening right now.
Yeah. I feel like this is a topic that has to be like talked about, explored as much as possible, because those that still continue and believe in the myth of policing, and as far as it is there to protect people, there's some basic truths that make sense, right? That I feel like when you look at it, the idea that policing is what keeps people safe, you're looking at this idea that somehow the police act as a preventative measure, because in all actuality, police react to crime, right? They react to something happens, bullet goes off, a punch is thrown, someone is stabbed,
something is
stolen, which is the lion's share of the arrest, right? Larceny is the lion's share. Yeah. Petty larceny, some sort of theft is the lion's share of the arrest. When you look at it, when you look at it from that angle, and you peel back the myth, right? When you peel back the myth, you begin to see that we spend enormous amounts of money on this program, on this project of policing, and it's not done what it's claimed to do. It is not done what it's claimed to do. For instance, has a police officer standing in the street prevented a crime somewhere in the world? I'm sure that has happened. I'm sure someone saw the police and was like, I'm not going to do that. There's a cop standing there right now. I am not going to speed today, or I'm not going to speed down this block because a cop might be there. I'm not going to do this because this might happen. That may be true, right? Cops, but to prevent the behavior, to actually prevent, behavior from happening, because many of our ills, like we said, is larceny. Many of us happening has to do with mental health, has to do with substance abuse. Why aren't we addressing it on that end of it? Because if we can do that, if we can invest there, then we would limit those interactions with the police ever happening, period. Right? We would limit that from happening, not increase it. And I feel like that gets missed. I feel like we're always talking over each other, like, oh, well, we need police. No, we don't need police to stop someone from using drugs. It has never worked.
There's a couple other things, because when you said no one's ever, you said a cop standing there might actually stop someone. Remember what we learned last week, that the center of a number of crimes in Albany happened directly outside the South Station. That someone actually walked up with a gun
and shot someone
within eyesight of the police station. Ain't no cop stopped them from doing that.
No,
not a single one. No, there was no story about officers ran outside and stopped it. No. And that if you draw a circle around the police station, that station is sitting in the center of crime. So no, they're not preventing it. The other piece you talk about all the time, and I was surprised you didn't say it right now, is that people are not given the tools or the knowledge to imagine a different way of handling our problems. And one of the things that I talk about all the time is, how are we creating community conflict resolution? Because people call the cops for everything. We're told to. We are told, call the cops. Something's wrong, call the cops.
Music's too loud,
call the cops. Somebody slashed your tire, call the cops. Like, everything is, you're supposed to call the cops. And what I say is, no, don't just call them for everything. How are we going to create solutions within our communities as a collective through relationships and restorative justice that don't involve trying to put someone else in a cage that removes them from the community? That's not a solution. That puts further stress and strain on the community, because you're saying, if you did this one thing wrong, you have no other value in your life. And that's just no. What we should do instead and can do when we have these conversations and we change the people that are in decision-making roles is create solutions that are centered in communities, that give agency to those communities, support those communities with resources and training to have community conversations. So, and I always use the tire thing because of what happened with Yergeshwar. So if your tire gets cut, you don't call the cops, you call the Community Conflict Resolution Committee. Or what, I just made that name up. But you, you just, the CCCC. You call a different group and, hey, I've got this video, I think it's this person. Because we do still have a court system that if you really feel like this person did it, you could take them to civil court. Because you want your tire replaced.
But who knows that, right? Like, what level of awareness are we operating in to where we can think, okay, because the main focus is right now, you call the police, you call the police, you call the police. For, and like you said, for everything.
Yes.
Tire slash, loud music. I don't know. I don't like my neighbor. He's got his garbage and it smells bad. Whatever.
Yes.
Call the cops.
Yep.
And like I said, like you said, it doesn't work. There are, like, I think Daniel Shared says this is the 4 factors to creation of violence, right? Isolation, shame, poverty, and guess what? Violence, right? Perpetuate violence. So taking someone out of that situation who's committed whatever crime and putting them in prison or putting them in a jail, whatever the case may be, which have what as factors? All 4 the same things, right? That only perpetuates that same kind of feeling and sentiment and makes a person more violent, not less violent. I feel like, sometimes when we talk like this, and I be in my brain, I be scratching, I be thinking to myself like, this shit ain't rocket science, man. like why am I sitting here trying to break this down? You know what I'm saying? To this level of understanding when I'm feeling to myself like, if you put people that have been poor and shamed and angry and etc. in situations that are the exact same thing, that compound those feelings, that doesn't work to change those feelings. Yeah. That it only makes it worse. When you don't give a community or you don't get a person the opportunity, the access, the resources to be successful, you are creating the conditions in which this person will behave in a way, right, that you claim you don't want. Yeah. So why are we still continuing to do that? Why? I'm not. Because it's not rocket science. There's an entire industry that has been born up around policing and incarceration. I mean, multi-billions of dollars have gone into this industry. Yeah. I think that's a significant factor, and why the resistance is so hard to change. Why it's so hard to change course.
We talk about capitalism.
Come on, man.
And we don't have time to get into it for today, but we've got the platform to talk about it another time. I have been putting some stuff up because shout out to Jolene, the real one, who makes sure we stay informed about stuff.
Oh, Jolene is in there?
Jolene, she be dropping facts. There are a number of things that are coming up. I put it up on the screen already. Check it out if you're available. There's all types of things that are happening. New York State Legislature ain't got a whole lot of time left to get things passed at the state level. So there's a real push as we, start to come up on June and the end of the state legislature, because, they ain't got to work all year. They have to make sure they can campaign or whatever. There's a number of bills that we need to have pushed. And locally here in the Capital District, there's a bunch of law and order folks. Where's Angelo Santa Barbara bringing our community members home and talking about how important our community is? What position is Phil Steck going to take publicly to say that this is a good idea? Jim Tedisco. I mean, do I really have to say anything? But also Neil Breslin, John McDonald, Pat Fahey. Yeah. These are local elected officials at the state level that have an opportunity to bring our community members home and to give them access and opportunity to be active, participating members in our community that are not ostracized for the rest of their lives. Yeah. If they happen to be your local elected official, call them. Ask them where they stand. Tell them that they need to do better.
And
they do.
And get out and vote for Jamaica Miles. 12 to 9 p.m.
That's the thing.
It's up.
That's it.
Our post is up. We have all the places, the voting places that we're aware of.
Yes.
Check it out. Need more information. Listen, message us, email us, whatever. We'll get the information to you. You need a ride, do the same. Email, message us, whatever. We'll get you a ride. Vote for Jamaica Miles tomorrow. It's important. Make sure that this money gets allocated in the right way. Make sure our students, all our students, are taken care of and given the best education possible. Just make sure you get out. Vote for Jamaica Miles.
Yeah, it's not one of us. It's all of us.
And if you ain't from Schenectady,
who do you know in Schenectady?
Exactly. Tell them, hey, yo, you know, there's polling going on tomorrow. There's a vote for the school board. Hey, you know who I think is really dope? Jamaica Miles.
And just because you posted it on Facebook doesn't mean that it was enough.
Yeah.
Yes, we're sharing everything on social media. We're using all the platforms that are available. But if you did not text or talk to someone and confirm that they are voting tomorrow, if you don't call them tomorrow and say, did you vote? There's no guarantee that they did. Oh, and anyone that actually votes tomorrow, put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram and say, I voted. And if you feel comfortable, say who you voted for. Because it sends a message to people that need that message. All right, okay, I'm done throwing subs for today. Everyone, drink water, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And we'll be back next Monday or sooner.
Or sooner.
Or sooner.
All right, later, y'all. Y'all have a great day.
Laters.
Weather's nice.
Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, we gotta go. Bye.